Hello, this is Terry from Fabric Junction, bringing you block number 4 called Air Castle for our block of the week quilt. One of the things I want to point out on this particular one, when it tells you all your squares to cut, and as you can see there's a lot of triangles in this one, some of the pieces you will cut. That's what these lines indicate. This one you'll cut twice. So you'll lay out your square and it does tell you you'll have 4 triangles when you're done. One line you cut once. So that just makes it easier when we put our blocks together. So with that, show you our lovely block in the quilt is right here. And I don't know if you've noticed over the weeks all the beautiful quilting that's on here. The in-house staff here does all the quilting on all my samples. So you can always give them a call and see if they can do your quilt for you. Okay, with that, let's put Air Castle together. I've done a couple of the sections already just for time, but I've laid everything out. So the piece that we're going to do half square triangles is the green and the blue. And as you can see, I've already drawn a pencil line from point to point on my blue square, and I will sew 1/4 inch to each side of that. Now we'll cut on the blue line, or on the pencil line, excuse me, not the blue, the pencil line with the scissors, with your rotary, whatever you're comfortable with, and then press. We need to get rid of our dog ears. And then I place it where it belongs within our block. Okay, now I'm going to do the center. And one of the things I've already done is I have folded in half and did a little bitty press on the corner, or on the side, excuse me, of my block all the way around. I've done the same to the triangles. I have folded them and just put a little bitty press. So this gives me something to line up on when I add the triangle to the square. So I line up those 2 little creases. You can pin it if you would like. And then I sew. And as you notice, I do opposite sides. And then I press. And be careful that I don't press out my other 2 little markings. Just want to get these triangles back out of the road to add the other side. And I lost my thread. Sometimes that happens when I take off a little too fast, and I don't mean to, but it happens. It is not the end of the world. Whoops, I missed it. Doesn't say much for a machine, but most of my rethreading is me. I am generally the one. that has the problem of getting it right. So, we're re-threaded. Take it a little slower to start. Because that's generally my problem. I tend to start too fast. And anytime I do, I lose my thread, and it doesn't make any difference what kind of machine I'm using, I'll lose my thread. Okay. We have all of our corners. Now we can press it. Also get rid of the dog ears that are on this. Like I said, we don't like all of those. Now once again, you'll have your seam allowance. You'll see that this one here is a little funky. That's okay, because we'll just go through and double check it. Line up a 1/4 inch from the edge. You don't want to lose your seam allowance, but you want to get rid of some of those other little pieces that you don't need. And sometimes there's not a whole lot we're going to trim away, but we still just want to kind of clean it up. And I'm lining up, I try to line up straight here or straight here, either one. Make sure I have a 1/4 inch there, and then just trim away whatever little parts that may get on our road when we go to sew it together. Okay, now on our blue and white block. If you notice, we have a mirror image on our blocks. So when you get ready to put them together, I'll show you how I put them together, but make sure that you do one with the blue on your right hand, or 2 of them. You'll have 2 of them with the blue on your right hand and 2 of them with the blue on your left hand. On both of these quilts, or blocks, I always start at the 45, line it up, and that's where I want to sew. It's always so much easier to sew from that angle than try to work with that little bitty angle on the other end of the triangle. So once I have it, I take my large, mark my little point that I'm going to match, and I match it up, and I check to make sure I'm matched up on the bottom too. Once I have that matched up, I sew. Press, and in this case I'm pressing to the less bulky. Trim the dog ears. Put it in its spot. Double check that that's what I have, and what I'm looking at is I see my big white ones sew next to the pink. Here's the 2 big, they sew to the pink. So they're creating kind of similar to the anvil block. Double check that my greens are going to the inside. I have my block positioned exactly the way I want it, and I start at the top and roll it over. Again, we're going to line up the 2 seam allowances that are right here on this corner, and they should just snuggle right next to each other. And then once I get it started, I line up with the other side. This one I have an intersection to cross, so I want to make sure that I cross it right at that intersection. And off. And then on this one I still have seam allowance to match at the bottom. And I open it up, I grab my next, and I line up again. Now this one I'm not going to be able to see that little intersection, but I'll be able to feel it because there is quite a bit of bulk right there. So once I feel it, I kind of put my finger on it. Sometimes I use a pen, stiletto, a tweezer, something that'll give me a sense of where that intersection is. Okay, they should be in the order that they need to be. They are. I still have my whites facing, the big whites facing, the greens to the inside. So now I just need to do the other direction. I line up my seam allowance. I line up where my X's meet. And it looks like I missed a dog hair. Or dog ear, not dog hair. Looks like dog hair. I'll cut it once I get on here. Watch all my intersections. Line up the seam allowances. There we have our beautiful air castle block all ready to go into our quilt. I hope you enjoy making the air castle and all the blocks that we've done. Looking forward to seeing you next week when we work on our next block. Thank you for watching.